Imagine waking up one day to discover that thousands of acres of your family's land that had been passed down for generations, was suddenly sold by people who had no right to touch it. That's exactly what happened to me when my local HOA decided they could play real estate tycoons with something they didn't even own. But here's the thing. They messed with the wrong landowner. This story isn't just about greed. It's about betrayal, arrogance, and how karma has a funny way of serving justice. Stick with me until the end, because the way this all unfolded will leave you speechless. It started with letters. The HOA sent me notices claiming that certain unused parts of my 3,000-acre ranch had been designated as community access land. At first, I thought it was a mistake. After all, my property deeds were clear, legally registered, and not under any HOA jurisdiction. But then I noticed something strange. A real estate developer reached out to me, congratulating me on offloading some parcels of my land. Wait, what? I hadn't sold anything. Turns out, the HOA had filed fraudulent documents with the county, selling portions of my property as if they were authorized agents. They claimed my land was abandoned, and that the HOA had assumed control under some fake clause. The sheer arrogance left me stunned. My family's land, thousands of acres of pasture, timber, and wildlife, was being carved up and sold off by people who had no right to even set foot on it. Now here, where it gets interesting. Instead of exploding in anger, I decided to fight back, legally, strategically, and publicly. I hired a land use attorney who nearly laughed when he saw what the HOA had done. He said, "They've opened a can of worms they can't close." Why? Because by filing those fraudulent deeds, the HOA had not only committed real estate fraud, they had also placed every one of their assets in jeopardy. And the HOA had one major asset, their lake system. You see, their $12 million man-made lake system was the centerpiece of the entire community. Without it, property values would plummet, recreational perks would vanish, and the HOA would collapse. Guess what? That lake system, under old water rights law, partially sat on my family's land, which meant I had leverage, and I intended to use it. I filed suit. The lawsuit wasn't just against the HOA board. It was against every fraudulent deed they had filed. The court case made headlines in local papers. People couldn't believe it. An HOA trying to steal 3,000 acres from a private landowner. But what shocked them even more was what came next. Through the discovery process, we uncovered emails, meeting notes, and internal discussions where HOA board members openly admitted to fast-tracking the land sales because they thought I was too busy or too distant to notice. They were literally counting on me not caring enough to fight back. But they miscalculated. After months of court battles, the judge sided with me. Not only was every fraudulent land transfer reversed, but the HOA was ordered to pay damages for attempted fraud. And here's the twist. To pay me back, they had to liquidate assets. The biggest, their lake system. And here, where karma turned the knife. Remember those water rights I told you about? Because the lakes partially sat on my family's original boundaries, I had first rights to buy. And buy I did. At auction, I legally purchased the entire $12 million lake system. That's right. The same HOA that thought they could sell my land now had to pay me rent if they wanted to use their own lakes. The looks on their faces at the final hearing were priceless. The board president turned pale when he realized that their entire crown jewel of the community, the lakes, the docks, the marinas, belonged to me. I didn't even raise my voice. I just handed them the new lease agreements and said, "If you want to keep using it, you'll be paying me now." And here's the real kicker. When word spread, homeowners in the community revolted. They realized the HOA board's reckless actions had not only cost them credibility but had also given me, the person they tried to rob, ownership of their prized asset. Within 6 months, the board was dissolved. Lawsuits were flying from angry residents, and the HOA was effectively bankrupt. So now, when I walk along the shoreline of those lakes, I can't help but laugh. The HOA wanted to take my land illegally, and in return, I legally took their entire lake system. My family's 3,000 acres are safe, my rights are protected, and the HOA. They're paying me every month for the privilege of existing. The lesson: don't mess with someone's legacy. Land isn't just dirt, it's history, family, and future. And if you try to take it the wrong way, you might just lose everything you thought was yours. So the next time an HOA tries to push boundaries or act like they own more than they really do, remember this story. Because justice might take time, but when it lands hard. And for me, every dollar I collect from those lakes is just a reminder. Don't steal from people who know how to fight.